The wind rolled across the dry plains like a restless spirit, dragging dust along the earth and whispering through the brittle grass. Evening was settling over the frontier town, painting the sky in shades of amber and bruised purple. Lanterns flickered to life one by one, glowing against the coming dark. Clara Whitmore stood alone on the porch of the boarding house, her hands wrapped tightly around her own elbows as if she were trying to hold herself together. She had learned to stand that way, self-contained, careful, braced against disappointment. It had been years since anyone had looked at her with warmth, years since anyone had said her name gently. The town of Dry Creek did not notice loneliness. It noticed gossip, horses, gunshots, and gold, but not loneliness. Clara had arrived there 5 winters ago after burying both her parents back east. She had come with a small inheritance, a quiet determination, and a heart that had once believed in promises. That heart had not survived unchanged. She ran the boarding house now. She cooked, cleaned, and kept her voice steady. Travelers came and went, cattle drivers, gamblers, drifters, lawmen, but none of them stayed long enough to ask about the faint sadness in her eyes. Until the night he rode in. His name was Nathaniel Reed. He came into town on a coal-black horse just before a storm broke open the sky. Thunder cracked like rifle fire, and rain followed in heavy sheets. Clara saw him from the porch, hat pulled low, shoulders broad beneath a weather-worn coat. He did not ride like a man looking for trouble. He rode like a man carrying it. Inside the saloon, men watched him carefully. He moved with quiet confidence, not swagger. His jaw was marked by an old scar, pale against sun-browned skin. His eyes, gray as distant mountains, scanned the room once and missed nothing. He asked for a room at the boarding house. Clara felt something tighten in her chest when he stepped through her doorway. Not fear, not exactly. Recognition. He removed his hat politely. "Ma'am, I was told you might have a room." His voice was low, steady. Clara forced herself to meet his gaze. "We do." Their eyes held a second too long. Something flickered there, something fragile. She handed him a key. Their fingers brushed. It had been years since she had felt something as simple as a touch linger in her thoughts. That night, rain battered the windows. Clara could not sleep. She lay awake listening to the storm, wondering about the stranger down the hall, wondering what kind of man carried sadness the way he did, quietly, like it was stitched into him. The next morning, she found him in the yard splitting wood. "You're a guest," she said. He shrugged. "I don't sit well when there's work to be done." She studied him. His movements were precise, controlled. A man used to discipline. "Passing through?" she asked. "Thought I was," he replied. The words hung between them. Over the next days, Nathaniel stayed. He helped repair a broken fence, fixed a leaking roof, escorted a supply wagon safely through rough territory outside town. He did not drink much, did not gamble, did not boast. But sometimes Clara caught him staring into nothing, as though seeing memories he wished would fade. One evening, she found him sitting alone on the steps, hat in his hands. "You look like someone waiting for a verdict," she said quietly. He gave a faint smile. "Maybe I am." She sat beside him. Silence settled, not awkward, but cautious. "Dry Creek isn't much," she offered. "It's peaceful. For now." He glanced at her. "You sound like someone who expects storms. I've seen enough of them." He noted slowly. "Me too." The truth came out piece by piece over the following weeks. Nathaniel had once been a deputy in a distant territory. He had been engaged to a woman named Eliza. One night, outlaws raided the town. He survived. She did not. "I was supposed to protect people," he said, voice tight. Couldn't protect her. Clara felt the weight of those words. "I was engaged once," she confessed softly. "He left when my parents died. Said grief made me distant." Nathaniel's jaw tightened. "Grief doesn't make you distant," he said. "It makes you honest." She looked at him then, really looked at him. "I haven't been loved in years," she admitted, the words trembling as they left her. He didn't answer immediately. Instead, he reached for her hand. Not possessively, not urgently, gently. "Please," she whispered without thinking, her voice barely audible. "I don't know how to do this anymore." His thumb brushed across her knuckles. "I'm not here to rush you." And for the first time in years, Clara believed someone meant that. But peace on the frontier was always fragile. Word arrived at a notorious outlaw named Briggs had been seen near Dry Creek. Nathaniel's expression changed when he heard the name. Briggs had led the raid that killed Eliza. "He knows you're alive," she asked. "He might." Fear gripped her chest, not for herself, but for him. "You don't have to fight this," she said. He looked at him steadily. "If I don't, he'll hurt someone else." The town prepared uneasily. Windows shuttered, rifles cleaned. Clara lay awake again, but this time not from loneliness, from love. She had not realized when it happened. Somewhere between quiet conversations and shared glances, between steady kindness and unspoken understanding, she had begun to love him, and love terrified her. The attack came at dawn. Gunfire shattered the calm. Horses screamed. Smoke filled the air. Nathaniel moved like a man reborn. Calm, focused, controlled. He coordinated townsfolk, positioned defenders, protected the innocent. Briggs rode into the street with cruel confidence. Their eyes met across the chaos. The duel was swift and brutal.
When it ended, Briggs lay still in the dust. Silence fell. Nathaniel remained standing, but barely. A bullet had torn through his shoulder. Clara ran to him. "Stay with me," she pleaded, pressing cloth to the wound. His gaze found hers through pain. "I'm still here." For days she tended to him, washed blood from his skin, fed him broth, sat by his bedside through fever and restless dreams. One night he woke to find her asleep in the chair beside him, her hand still wrapped around his. He studied her face, the strength in it, the quiet vulnerability. When she stirred, she tried to pull away, embarrassed. He didn't let her. "You stayed," he murmured. "So did you." He shifted carefully, ignoring pain. "Clara." Her heart pounded. "I don't know how to love halfway," he said, "and I won't pretend I'm not afraid. But if you're willing, I'd like to build something here, with you." Tears welled in her eyes. "Take it easy," she whispered again, but this time she was smiling. He lifted her hand and pressed a kiss to her knuckles. "I will," he promised. Seasons changed. Nathaniel never left. They rebuilt parts of the town together, turned the boarding house into something warmer, brighter. Laughter returned to its walls. Clara still had moments of fear, moments where old wounds whispered that happiness was temporary. But each time doubt rose, Nathaniel met it with patience. He never rushed her, never demanded more than she could give. On a quiet evening months later, they stood together watching the sunset bleed across the horizon. "You're quiet," he said. "I'm thinking." "About?" She turned to him, her expression soft but certain. "For the first time in years," she said, "I don't feel alone." He pulled her gently into his arms, and the wind that moved across the plains no longer sounded restless. It sounded like peace. In the vast wild silence of the frontier, where survival often replaced tenderness, two wounded hearts had found something braver than revenge. They had found love again, and this time they handled it gently.